am so grateful to be able to speak to Kjesti myself and actually ask her some important questions and find out, was she involved legal saga and what can we learn from this whole experience? A little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I am a freelance journalist, and I think I got attention this summer in August when I posted an interview I did with Blake Lively and Parker Posey, and yeah, they weren't on their best behavior, let's put it that way. And since then, things spiraled a little bit, and I all of a sudden got dragged into the lawsuit that Blake Lively filed against Justin Baldoni. So when New York Times reported on Justin Baldoni, their lawsuit against Justin Baldoni, they mentioned me as part of the alleged smear campaign, which obviously is not true. And so I've been like talking a lot about this on my channel. Yeah, so it's been a crazy ride so far. And as you know, there's new things happening every single day. So yeah, thank you for having me on your channel.
Thank you. Well, look, there's so many things I want to ask you. One of the things is, what do you make of this thing around Ryan Reynolds is the person that's in control? What's your gut saying? Like, is this true from your experience?
My gut is saying that I think it's Blake Lively that's the main person behind this. And I think he's the supporting husband. And I think, like I don't know if you saw Candace Owens, she's a big YouTuber, and she did this long timeline of theory of why she thinks that Ryan Reynolds is the main villain of the story here. But I think we have to be careful with stuff like that because you can cherry pick little things here and there and make a new narrative. And I don't think we should jump to any conclusions like that at all. And I think what we've seen that they've been doing in social media, taking a dig at Justin Baldoni, is just their kind of sense of humor.
Okay.
That's what I think. But I think he's being the supportive husband. But I don't think he's innocent in any way. I think he's
Fine.
also being a part of this 100%. But I don't think he is the abusive, manipulative husband as much as people want to believe right now.
The one thing that I really want to do is help people actually come out of difficult situations and step into becoming the version of themselves they were always meant to be. Obviously things happen in life, there's trauma, but we can't go back to being who we used to be, but actually use these experiences to become the version that we were meant to be. And given everything that you've experienced, and obviously you must have experienced a lot of difficult situations over the years.
Yeah, yeah.
How has this made you the person that you were meant to be?
Oh my God, that's a big question. Oh, you know what? I think I am pretty good at uh looking at myself from a little bit of a distance sometimes and
Beautiful.
own my mistakes because I think that's so important. And I think a lot of people don't do that, especially here in Hollywood. If you own your mistakes, that makes you liable, or people can come after you. So for me, I am trying to also have a sense of humor about things. You have to laugh about it. I've been
Yeah.
watching all of these TikTokers making fun of my interview, like, congrats on your little bump, congrats on your little bump. I just have to laugh about it. So that's the thing that I think I've learned. And it's not easy when you put yourself out there.
Yeah.
And especially after what happened with the lawsuit, and I was dragged into it, and people started thinking that I was paid to put out
Mm.
that video. That was really hurtful for me. And I received a lot of backlash from that. People were emailing me like, we trusted you, and this is so disappointing. And having that feeling you have to come out and defend yourself against something and people don't believe it. That's just like, that was horrible. This is so important, what Kjesti's bringing up right now, is when you've been bullied, for instance, in real life, and then you stand up, usually what happens is
you get bullied more by different people. And it is so difficult to deal with. And it is so courageous to actually stand up for yourself.
Yeah,
So you have to, I think, learn how to deal with haters when you're, when you're on
yeah,
YouTube, and also always like, believe that you're on the right side of things when you know you are. Because
yeah,
sometimes you can start doubting yourself, like, oh, maybe was it mean of me to put out that video? Because some people were like, oh, you're the bully because you exposed her. And then you have to
right.
sit down and like, okay. And then,
And the truth of the matter is, it does impact our self esteem. It does create a sense of self doubt. And this is normal and natural. And it's really a time to actually get a different perspective. And this is why what Kjesti is saying next is so vital. And if you're in this position, please reach out to people that can give you a different perspective, that can help you see what's really going on, so you're not isolated.
I think for me, just being surrounded by really good people, you can always ask advice. I think that's so important that you have people you trust. Like my boyfriend, he's been amazing support in all of this. Without him, I don't know. I couldn't have dealt with all of this. I don't think so.
Yeah, actually, that's because I don't think most people would have known that you've even gone through all of that, through this whole scenario. Like, I wouldn't have known that you've got a lot of haters because of it. I actually think what you did was brilliant
Thank
because
you.
it's like divine timing almost,
Yeah.
it just helped the whole situation be
I have to add before you say that, I have to add that after I published the video, I got so much support. It was amazing. I was
yeah,
overwhelmed. I started crying. I was just like, so many people reached out to me, so many women who said, I've been in that situation, feeling that you're left out and being bullied and all those things. And so I really could relate to it. I had a mother contacting me with this beautiful mail saying, I showed my daughter your video and I said, you can be bullied as a grown-up too, because she had been bullied at school and it helped her. All these things. It's just like, it makes it all worth it to me. So yeah, I just had to
yeah,
add that. That has been
yeah.
also an amazing positive experience for sure.
And I suppose it's holding on to that, what the overall positive experience is in amongst, because you're always going to get some haters.
Yes, for sure. And I think the more you put yourself out there, the more haters are gonna come. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So
someone
do
told
you
me the
have
other yeah, someone told me the other day, like, yeah, when you get the haters, you know you made it. So
that? I like that. Okay,
yeah.
so if you do get haters for being who you want, because what you did was you expressed yourself, you put something out there that was your truth, your experience, of what happened to you and what happens in real life, and so that you can help people. And I think that is what people are wanting, right? Authenticity.
Yeah, that's my experience too. And you know what? I think things have changed a little bit, like we talked about in my episode as well, that I think people want authenticity not only from regular people, but also from celebrities.
Yeah,
And they don't, the entitlement, we don't buy it anymore. Why should they be entitled like that? Why should they be put above everyone else as they're like some superhumans that the rest of us should just bow to? So yeah, I think that's a thing that I realized when I published that interview, because I published my interview with Anne Hathaway that also got a lot of attention a while back when it happened. And then I got a call saying, you should probably take that down. And then I realized, people would come after me
right.
because it's like, oh, you asked a stupid question. And oh, no wonder she got annoyed with you. And, things like that. So
I think if you were talking to women or men who have been through difficult scenarios, who have dealt with toxic people, what advice would you give them to manage difficult people? Because you're right, they're just normal people, aren't they?
yeah. Well, I would say stay away. As soon as you
Yeah,
see the red flags, although that's a different scenario than when you're in an interview situation, but in life in general, and when you start seeing those red flags, just stay away because you can
yeah,
never really change a grown-up person. I think people can become better, but you can't really change someone that's really toxic.
Yeah.
I know a lot of women, and I've been in a toxic relationship myself, and I know how you keep excusing the behavior of that other person, and it's never going to end.
No.
So I think before even getting involved with toxic people, just like as soon as you get that gut feeling,
Yeah.
always trust your gut feeling.
Yeah.
That's my thing. Like if something feels off, it usually is. And if something feels good, it usually is. And if you have doubts, just like sit and think a little bit about it and trust that you know what's best for yourself.
Now, this is another amazing point that Kjesti's bringing up here. So, what science has revealed is that there's neurons in our brain. Yeah, but there's also neurons in our hearts and our gut. Hence why it's so important to make decisions from using all our brain, our head, our heart, and our gut, because we make better decisions when we're using the full capacity of all our neurons. And that way we can be fully present when we're around people, so we can pick up the signs of what this person's really like.
Because you must use your gut instinct all the time when you're dealing with and interviewing people.
Oh,
You
for
probably
sure. Yeah, no. I mean, I always try to like match the energy of the person that I'm interviewing. So if there's someone with a high energy, I would be, high energy and more myself, or I can feel like someone's a little insecure and I can kind of like make them feel comfortable. So yeah, there's a lot of psychology going into
There is.
interviewing people actually, and especially when you have such a short amount of time, because usually you have less than 5 minutes, and then you walk in, you sit down, and then you need to make that person feel comfortable talking to you and basically like you in like a few seconds, because you don't have much more time than that. So
But at the same time, you can sense who they are and you know who you should run from.
yeah. Yes. I mean, there are, and you also know beforehand kind of what people are like. I've been interviewing celebrities for 20 years, so I've met a lot of them. And we know, like the journalists between us, we always talk like, oh, is he in a good mood? Is he in a bad mood? You always sit and talk before you enter a room when you're interviewing someone. Yeah. So then you kind of feel like, oh, don't ask him about that. He's just being so moody and he hates his movie. Don't ask him about the movie. That happens too. So yeah, there's all sorts of things going on. And
this is another great point by Kjesti, because when you're around difficult people, what happens is they have unpredictable behavior. So what they're doing is prepping for people so that you know how to deal with them. So for people that have been in difficult relationships, they will know that walking on eggshells and not knowing what mood they're going to be in it impacts us so much. It literally triggers in our brain our nervous system to go into fight, flight, freeze, or fawn mode. And what that does, it shuts off your critical thinking part of the brain, which means that you're not thinking clearly. You're not on your A game. And that's why to actually get prepared for unpredictable people, or people who have unpredictable behavior, helps your nervous system calm down and feel more in control. So this is fantastic, that how they're helping each other, preparing for an interview before they actually go in.
It's been amazing talking to you, honestly.
It's been such a pleasure. I learned so much from you. My gosh.
I really want to say how grateful I am to Kjesti for doing this interview with me. And she's invited me to her channel. So please do go and check out that video and also subscribe to her channel. She has some great content, great insight on to Hollywood interviews. And please do subscribe to this channel too. And a massive, massive shout out to the people that emailed Kjesti to ask us to get together. Thank you so much. Sending you so much love. Till next time.